Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great start to your day and welcome to another live this morning. I'm on the road today and, but we didn't want to miss our live. Enjoy our question and answer Friday. Mike, how are you from Norland? And Eric, salut from Ottawa. Andrea, Niagara Falls, good morning. Madeleine, how are you? From Chippewa, Quebec, and Lori Lee from Ventura, California. Tina from Nova Scotia. Sandy, how is you? April, good morning. Chantal, Ottawa. Nick from our staff. And Mary from Norwich, good morning. Fran, Orangeville. And Jeanette, how are you? Johanna from the Netherlands. Well, hello. Kevin, Oshawa, Wendy, Markham. Doris from Kitchener. Norma from Texas. Marianne, London, and Rosalinda, and Cheryl, West Virginia. Shelley, Kansas. Yolande, bonjour. Deneen, how are you? Yvonne from Petawawa. Nice to have you guys on. We appreciate it more than you know. Jeanette and Janine. And Janine's from West Kelowna. Sue, Kathy, Virginia. Helga, Scarborough. Judy, how are you? Suzanne et Danielle Papineau de Kapuskasing. Bonjour, Sharon. Kansas, Maryland. How are you from Edmonton? Carol. And Bonnie. A few more guys before we get to the questions. Bruno, how is you? And Sherry, Mississauga. Francis from Vaughan, good morning. Nativity, how are you? Okay. Douglas, coffee time with Dr. Martin. And I think that was Melika and Kelly. Joni, and Lynn, Aurora, Karen, Little Britain. Guys, thanks for coming on. Lise, how are you? Bonjour. Janice, Brampton, two more. Sue, Manitoulin Island, and Thea. Good morning to you. We appreciate it. I got to say hello to you, Arlene, and Georgie, Halifax. Suzanne, how are you? I don't want to miss anybody. Lisa, Maureen, Penticton, BC. Okay, a couple of more. Claudette. And Denny, how are you? Gertie, okay. And Maria, here's a question from David. How do you know if you're absorbing minerals and vitamins? Well, I mean, literally, you'd have to take a test and to find that out, but think about it, okay? B12, for example, okay? I mean, the best way to find out is to take a B12 test, but usually when you're not absorbing vitamins and minerals, you're going to be in bad shape. I mean, a lot of people are very lethargic. Their skin isn't right. They might have symptoms of numbness and tingling. And, sometimes you go to the doctor and everything, I don't know, your levels seem to be good. But remember, again, I'll just give you an example of B12. Vast majority of people are very low in B12. And yet, in blood tests, they're showed that they're normal, but they're not optimized. And you want to be optimized when it comes to B12. Your B vitamins, guys, sometimes you have a little bit more trouble absorbing them. But if your stomach acid is good, that's a big, big key, is that the first stop for food. Okay, you eat, the first stop is stomach. And because of our diets, because we're carboholics, because we don't eat enough protein. Your body was made to eat steak, sun, steak, and steel. And I mean it. Your body was made, your gut, your stomach was made for steak. When you don't eat steak, the pH of your stomach changes. It goes up, more alkaline. You want your stomach to be extremely acidic. Okay? You take your acid from your stomach and put it on your kitchen table. It'll burn a hole in it. If it's acidic enough, the way it should be. Because you see, that acidity was given to you in order for you to break down steak. I mean it. You don't use it, you lose it. And because we're carboholics, and one of the biggest things you get is acid reflux. So if you got acid reflux, you just assume you're not absorbing all your vitamins and minerals from your food. And the reason is because of that stomach acidity. If it doesn't get broken down properly in that first stop in your stomach, and then you could potentially have problems. So to answer your question, David, okay, at the end of the day, I mean, you can get tested and look for deficiencies, or you can just see if you have any symptoms. And, you know, a lot of people need to, this is where I would put people on a supplement, you know, if we determine that they had problems, or I get them on digestive enzymes so that they break down their food. But you can change your stomach acidity by eating the right foods. By eating the right foods, okay? Thanks for the question, David. Tammy, if the sugar amount on a label says 0, but it does say natural flavoring, should I be concerned? Tammy, look, okay? And again, it goes to my overarching principle, okay? When you're on the Titanic, don't worry about the deck chairs, okay? That's my overarching principle. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are a newcomer and you're starting the reset, and good for you, Tammy, because you're reading labels. I want that, okay? I'm going to talk to people that are newcomers. Okay? You know that you need to do the reset. A 30-day program of no sugar, no carbs. Generally, you're going to get no carbohydrates. You're going to eat eggs, meat, and cheese. Okay? You go to the grocery store, you see something, it's got no carbohydrates, and you're looking at it, and no sugars, and natural flavoring. Okay? Well, look. I want you to eat eggs, meat, and cheese. Okay? Now, if you're on the reset and you find a snack that has no carbs and no sugars or whatever, look, again, believe you me, look at the big picture first. Okay? If you're eating a no carb, no sugar for 30 days, believe you me, you are doing the right thing. Now, there's better degrees of food. Like if you can, you know, eggs, naturally, cheese, there's better cheese. Just like meat, there's better meats. Okay? But don't worry about it too much if you're a newcomer. Get through the 30 days. It will make a big difference in your life. Okay? Now, down the road, if Tammy, you're down the road on your journey of health. You're on the narrow road, okay? You got off the broad road of carboholism, okay? You got off the broad road, now you're on the narrow road, and good for you. Now you read labels, and you are very good at it, and you see stuff. Again, Tammy, use your, if you're not sure about something, send me a picture of it, or put it on a private Facebook group and let me look at it, because it depends what you're talking about. But generally, again, like how did they make that food? Is there any other additives to it, and that kind of thing? Read your labels. I love that. If you're a newcomer, don't get in the weeds. Just eggs, meat, and cheese, and get through the 30 days. You're going to change your life with it. You're going to lower insulin resistance. Believe you me, it's the best thing you've ever done for your health. If you're down the road and now you're a label reader and you really become good at it, and just sort of look at it, use your instincts, and if you're not sure, send a picture into our group. We got so many smart people in our group. I often don't have to answer because the group answers for you, okay? So I'm not too worried about it, Tammy, but again, you read that label or send it to me. Brenda, what are your thoughts on CBD, okay? Gummies, okay? I don't know. There's CBD oil. It's become very popular. It's an extract of hemp. It doesn't have the, what is it, the THC or the THC in it. It's not a medication. Some people swear by it, Brenda. Some people really like it. Here's my experience with it, okay? Because you got to understand, I've been around a long time. I used hemp seeds and hemp, okay? I've been talking about that for generations. Well, maybe not generations, but years, decades. How's that? Better. Now, here's what I found with the CBD oil, okay? Not that I don't like it. I always tell people, if you got problems sleeping and you found the CBD oil good for you, or you got pain and you found that the CBD gummies helped you, good for you. Generally, here's my rule of thumb for it. Those results are not long lasting. Ordinarily, it helps at first for a lot of people and they swear by it. But down the road, no more effect. Chronic pain, not much after a while. Sleep issues, not much after a while. That's been my experience. So that's the rule of thumb. It's like melatonin. Like people, oh, Dr. Martin, what about melatonin? Well, go out in the sun, let the sun hit your eyes, and you're making melatonin. Dark, wear a mask at night, and you're making melatonin. As a supplement, like I said, got a lot of experience with it. Some people, they swear by it, and then a month later, they tell me, you know what, doc, it's not working anymore for me as a supplement. And that's what I found with CBD oil, okay? I think somebody asked that question. Hold on a minute. Yeah, Shirley, what do I think of CBD oil? Okay, so I've answered Shirley's question and Brenda's questions. Can they raise your liver enzymes? I've seen it. But generally, they're very safe, okay? The gummies or the CBD oil, generally very safe, okay? I've seen a few cases where liver enzymes were elevated a little bit, but generally very safe, okay? Thank you for the questions, Brenda and Shirley. Joey, is there anything else you can do for scoliosis that is beneficial besides exercise? Well, exercise is the best. Get strong. I can't emphasize that enough. Anytime you have problems with your spine, look, scoliosis, unless you're a kid, you're not going to fix scoliosis, okay? Now, maybe a mild scoliosis, But generally with scoliosis, you're not fixing it. But you want to anchor it, okay? So even if your spine has got a twist in it, like a scoliosis, get strong. I can't emphasize that. Strengthen your legs. Lift weights. So you're right, Joey, about, what can I do besides exercise? I don't know. Chiropractic might help. It depends whether you have pain with that scoliosis or not. But you're not going to, you want to just get strong, and your body compensates very, very, very well for that. Okay? So as long as you're strong, I would recommend to my patients for 50 years, get strong. Your anchors, you see your spine, you want to anchor it. And those leg muscles especially, they anchor. The stronger they are, they anchor in. And they stabilize you. Upper back, get strong up here in the upper back. Why? That really anchors the neck. Most people, they walk around, they don't realize they got no muscle. They're sarcopenic. And that's when the spine really will act up. Okay? Now, if you got a disc injury or whatever, you need treatment or whatever, that's different in a way. But at the end of the day, to prevent, you want to get strong. And look, I like bone broth, but it's not going to fix your scoliosis. It's high in protein. And you want vitamin D, okay, for your spine. You want vitamin D with K2. You want calcium where it belongs. Eat your eggs, meat, and cheese. Okay? But there's no magic. Okay, somebody else asked me about that I would answer this in the same way. Wait a minute now. Somebody had one short leg. Where is that? I want to give that person. I've got a short leg. One leg shorter than the other. Yeah, well, join the cast of millions. A lot of people have that. Look, if your back is bothering you, I was never one really much to use lifts, okay? Because you measure your leg length and you look at the length, and it could be, one leg shorter than the other. Your body compensates for that. I never was big on using a lift. Unless they were in severe pain or whatever. But having a short leg, who doesn't? A lot of people do. And that don't mean you got trouble. If you do have trouble, maybe a lift. But like I said, I wasn't big on that. Get strong, get strong, get strong. Okay? Muscle is not only good for you metabolically, for your insulin. They're anchors. Your muscles will keep you away from sarcopenia. Okay, let me just see here. Okay, that was Joey. Paula, what about low brain levels of hormones of dopamine? Should I be concerned as mine on the Dutch tests were below average? Nah, well, look, I wouldn't be concerned about it. It's not that I don't like the Dutch test, okay? I just find, how can I say this? I just find that people get into weeds and they get the Dutch test, and I'm a bigger guy on going on symptoms, okay? Now remember, I used to test hormones, but I never tested them in a vacuum, okay? I mean it. I used to have people send me in a kit, and we used to test for cortisol. We used to test for this and that, but I never, ever, ever recommended anything until I had a questionnaire answered. Because for me, anything you look at, like hormones especially, you need symptoms. And I learned that from my dad. Symptoms trump the lab. So you got a Dutch test and it says, oh, your dopamine is low. Are you depressed? Do you have severe anxiety? Okay. Now you have symptoms. Okay. I'm not too concerned about that. Like, Dutch test showing me that I'm low on dopamine. What are your symptoms? How are you feeling? That is really important. Your body is smart. It's intelligent. It will give you clues. And yesterday we talked about coffee, elevating dopamine. Drink more coffee. Paula. Thank you, Paula, for the question. Here's another one, okay? Pam, what is a good DHEA level for a woman? I don't care. I don't. You gotta, okay. Let me give you, Pam, just a little bit of background for me, okay? I wrote a book over 30 years ago, 35 years ago, on chronic fatigue syndrome, okay? I was a guru in chronic fatigue. I wrote my thesis for my PhD on chronic fatigue syndrome. I turned it into a book and it became a bestseller. Chronic fatigue syndrome, the curse of the modern woman, okay? I talked about chronic fatigue. I talked about fibromyalgia. Even back then, there were other gurus talking about chronic fatigue, and they talked about DHEA levels coming out of the adrenals. Okay, I love talking about the adrenal glands, but I never found if someone, first of all, took DHEA, I never gave it. I never found it worked. And knowing the DHEA levels in a person did nothing for me. It didn't equate to anything. So what is normal levels? I don't care. I care about cortisol, but I don't care about DHEA, okay? I'm sorry, you can't make me care, Pam. Okay, now that's just me. But to me, that was sort of a smoke screen, and I didn't look at it. Not that I wouldn't look at it, but I didn't care what it said because it didn't equate, in my opinion. People give DHEA. They give it as a supplement. They give it as a hormone. I don't like it. To be honest, I never found it worked. Okay? So Pam, that's me. Rita on a news program. Now Rita's going to give me a headache and she's doing it on purpose. No, Rita, I'm just joking. Rita says, on a news program, scrolling across the bottom of the screen was a banner that stated, new study says fish oil supplements may cause increased risk of stroke and heart disease. What do you say? Well, we did answer that. Okay? We did answer that. And the answer was this, okay? Those observational studies, what did you eat, Rita? Here's an observational study, I'm not kidding you. How many grams of protein or fish oil did you take 5 months ago? What did you eat 5 months ago? I don't know. All I know is I eat eggs, meat, and cheese. No, but seriously, these are observational studies. And people lie on observational studies. How many Oreo cookies did you have? Do you think people like to tell people how much Oreo cookies they have? So, I take a fish oil supplement. Okay. And I eat 5 Oreo cookies a day. Oh, I didn't put that on the observational study. Oh, I know what's wrong. You're taking fish oil. That's why you got sick. Okay. They didn't ask about smoking. Didn't ask about Oreo cookies. Didn't ask how many carbs. It's crazy when you get a study, their headlines. The media love that. Big Pharma loves that. When Big Pharma, and I'm telling you, they love it. Why? Because fish oil, that's bad. Look, I take fish every day in a capsule. I've shown you guys study after study after study that says the opposite of what this study says. Okay, so you get an observational study, you got to read it. I go in, look at the detail of it, and I go, yeah, it's an observational study. It's a questionnaire. What did you eat last week? I don't remember. People make it up. But if you're looking to get a bad conclusion, it's easy to do, guys, on an observational study. Or you're taking a supplement. Okay? And then we do an observational study of what you're eating, and you lie about it, or I'm not saying you read it, of course you wouldn't. But people lie. They don't like to admit they're eating Oreo cookies. I've been around a long time. I've seen these studies. You want to have observational? They're highly unreliable. They're just not good. A DHA, everybody would agree on this. Your brain's made up of DHA. Okay? Someone calls you a fathead, take it as a compliment. So how can DHA be bad for you? Okay? How can that be bad for you if you're just taking more DHA? And they've shown what it does for your heart. It's showing the benefits for your brain. They're showing benefits for your eyes. I don't know how many testimonies I have of people that take high DHA and their eyes. I talked to an optometrist. Well, I talked to a lot of optometrists over the years. I said, you guys are, like you're talking about Bilberry and that. I like that. But I said, do you want to know what's better for your eyes? Yeah, doc, what's better? High DHA and combine it with Navital. Watch what that does for a person's eyes. The circulation, lubrication. So, Rita, I think you did this just so that I could have a headache this morning. You were trying to poke me a little bit because you know the answer to it already, don't you, Rita? I know you do. Yeah, you just saw it and said, this will really give Dr. Martin a migraine. And you're right, it did. Because you know what's going to happen? Let me just say this, too. You know what's going to happen with this? People that don't know anything, they're going to buy it. I saw it on the news. Therefore, I'm never going to take a fish oil supplement because that's going to give me a heart attack and a stroke. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. But there are people, if it says it on the media, must be true. No, not necessarily. Okay, thank you very much, Rita. Bruno, can I take cream of tartar for potassium? Well, cream of tartar is potassium. I don't know, how would you take it? Isn't that it's in a powder form? I'd never take, I don't think I've ever, I know what it looks like. You need potassium. You're the first person that's ever asked me, Bruno, if you can take cream, which isn't a cream at all, right? It's a powder. It looks like baking soda. Remember though, it's acidic. No, some people, it might bother them. I don't know. Maybe somebody can answer your question, Bruno, because I've never even considered taking cream of tartar. TARTAR. T-A-R. Cream of tartar. I think you can use it in baking, can't you? But as taking it as a supplement of potassium? I don't know. Somebody answer his question. I'm not sure. Caroline, my 18-year-old has acne, and what can help her? Well, a couple of things, okay? With acne, skin, gut. Here's what I found with bad skin, teenagers. Number one, they had too much estrogen. Way too much estrogen, okay? So I would lower their estrogen. Flax seeds are really good. Soon as my hormonal formula is back, get them on that. There's no better DIM in all the world. I got the highest bioavailable DIM, okay? And I put it in our menopausal formula too. I'm always looking at leveling out estrogen. In skin, see what happens. The rest, your Caroline, my 18-year-old, your daughter. I think it's your daughter, right? Yeah, help her. Okay, your 18-year-old daughter, tell her that Dr. Martin said, you're too much of a woman. You're too much estrogen compared to your progesterone. And when a woman has too much estrogen compared to progesterone, it elevates their testosterone, the man's hormone, okay? And that's where you get the acne. 2, leaky gut. She's got leaky gut, 100%. So put her on probiotics and dim out the estrogen. The other thing that makes things grow is insulin. So get off the sugars and get off the crappy carbs. Watch what happens to the skin. It's amazing. It's amazing what happens with the skin. Okay, thank you very much. That was Caroline. Patricia, what foods are high in progesterone? Wild yam. Yam is high in progesterone. Okay, eat your yams. I don't think. Okay. Anything else that's high in progesterone? Help me out, guys. Put it in there. I can't remember anything else that's high. Yams are high in progesterone. Okay, let me see. Dale, what do you think of moringa leaf powder for keeping the liver clean? Keep it clean. You'll keep your liver clean if you eat eggs, meat, and cheese. I'd rather you do that. Your liver will empty itself. Okay? Your liver will empty itself if you don't pack it up with glycogen from carbs. Okay? Your liver is the Costco parking lot. And most people have a liver like the Costco parking lot that's always full. And they have fatty liver. I've seen that 1,000,000 times. And because you're carboholics. So when you eliminate that, in 6 days, you start eliminating and emptying your liver on the reset. Eat the right foods, eggs, meat, and cheese. And you'll empty your liver. I'd rather you do that, but moringa, meh. Okay? You ain't gonna out-supplement a bad diet. Can't do it. Start with food. Okay? Start with food. And I like curcumin better in terms of liver health. But again, you can't take curcumin and then eat bad food and expect your liver to respond to it. I'm sorry. Okay? Good question, Dale. Thank you very much. Shirley, I already answered. Helen, my naturopath told me that high B12 can be a red flag for some cancers. Should I be concerned with my level at 1467? Nope. I don't agree, Helen. Okay? Look, I like B12 shooting for numbers under, 800 to 1200. You're a little bit above that. And all I would say to you, you don't need to take a B12 supplement, but you certainly need to eat red meat, sun, steak, and steel. Nah, I know, you can go online and read, high B12 associated with certain cancers. I've never seen it in 50 years. I've never seen somebody, I got high B12, therefore I'm more susceptible to cancer. That is nonsense. Nonsense. Okay? So, Helen, I wouldn't be concerned. Okay? And if I thought you should be concerned, I would tell you. B12 is water soluble. It's not like people are overdosing on B12. Okay? But all I'm telling you, with your numbers the way they are, you don't need to take B12, but you should be eating steak because it gives you everything you need in food. Okay? Thank you for the question. Let me do one more. I don't think I'm going to get all these. Hold on. Maybe. Okay, Wendy, I saw an advertisement for bone broth that a 150-pound woman would have sarcopenia if she only had 54 grams of protein a day. Well, that's not enough protein. Look, I'm not big, Wendy, on measuring so much, but 54 grams of protein, that's not a lot of protein. Okay? That's not a lot of protein. That's the size of a small hand of meat. You want to be eating more protein than that. Yeah, bone broth. Our bone broth has 20 grams of protein in every scoop. And it's the best protein because it is the collagen protein. Best protein. Okay? I don't want you to shoot for a number. I'm not big on numbers, okay? Some people really like to measure out their grams. Just eat eggs, meat, and cheese, and you're going to get lots of protein and fat. Protein is king of the castle. You could eat 300 grams of protein. That ain't going to hurt you. Okay? Wendy, thanks for the question. Hold on a minute there. I'm just seeing if there's someone else asking something about, yeah. Sylvia, can you address nicotine that may help in Parkinson's? Well, look, I read about it, using nicotine patches. And nicotine seems to help stimulate in the brain, and I've seen it as therapeutic. I've only read about it. I've never had a patient with Parkinson's that ever told me about it that I can remember. But I have read about it. Listen, once you have Parkinson's, you take a nicotine patch. If that helps, like, good for you. I got no problem with it. I just can't say that I've had people, of my patients at least, tell me, oh, that was something that really helped me in Parkinson's. Okay? And with Parkinson's, what I did was, because generally they were quite low. They were low in B12. They were low in vitamin D, usually, almost invariably. I would put them on Navital because it crossed the blood-brain barrier. And always worked on the gut with probiotics and bone broth. So good questions. Okay, let me tell you that we'll finish the rest of them. Let me just see here. Yeah, I'll answer. I think there's a few here that I haven't done. And I will answer some of these on Monday, but we'll also have some teaching on Monday too. Okay, so let me answer the rest of them on Monday. Guys, we appreciate your questions. We appreciate you. We thank you over and over again for being such a great audience. Okay, now some of these questions, don't be shy. If you got experience with cream of tartar, Send it in. Put it up here so they can read about it, okay? Guys, we love you dearly. We'll talk to you soon.